we're gonna film a music video.
I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, I just don't know how much more steam I had left to keep doing music.
We haven't spoken in a while. What does your heart say now? What shape is it taking on? What's changed since I've been gone?
So right now I'm driving down to his hut. Ben's style is something we talked about on the Zoom call. It's very natural and raw. It wants it to be very personal. He's okay with blemishes. It doesn't have to be polished. He wants it to feel authentic and real and vulnerable and like you're there. And so that's something that we talked about ahead of time. And I asked him a question. I was really glad that I asked him this. I asked him, what 3 artists would you most want to collab with / want to be like? And he gave me a list of names, more than 3, and I went and I looked up their styles, their music, their website, and I was like, okay, I'm getting a larger perspective of the style that he wants to have. So that was just in my own little time in research prepping for this. He's got his own studio. We're going to look at it when we get there and see as far as what lighting we want to do. I'm a big believer in lighting. I would much rather film something on my phone with good lighting. Not that this is good lighting. This is on my phone, but it's not really with good lighting. But I would rather film something with good lighting on my phone than something with bad lighting on a more professional camera. So I believe that lighting is a really big deal. And with his desire to keep it really natural, we're going to have to play with the room and see how the room is laid out.
Hey,
Ben,
how you doing?
tell me specifically about the history of the song, and then we'll get into our relationship and how that got started.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the build and the setup here for this specific shoot.
Yeah. Well, this song is called Embozi, which is Luganda for talk or gossip. I wrote this song with 2 friends of mine last March when I went to Tennessee, Master Hetska and Sarah Yelling, and it was in their living room. I've been thinking about it all day, particularly when I went down on this trip. The whole way I was just kind of thinking to myself, like, I just don't know how much more steam I had left to keep doing music and to keep doing everything that I was doing. So I just really wanted to, kind of call it after the year and just say, like, you know what, like, had a good time and I'm just kind of over it, because there's a lot that goes into it, and I think I'd lost sight of why I had started doing it, of the fun part, the fun parts of it, because it could get stressful. And this was one of the songs that after sitting in the car for 8 hours trying to get into Tennessee, there's a voice that I just hadn't heard in a while that kind of always kept me going. I always felt like it was my campus bearer, right? And finally I had it again. And I think the long drive, I'm thankful for all the stops I made to be able to just sit down and have a dialogue with that voice and figure out what's been missing or where it's been.
It's kind of a conversation with yourself.
Yeah, and those really the words that came out is keep your head and your heart sound, and even when it gets tough, walk in, because that's the only way out. So that's really where the song comes from. I was able to share it with Matt and Sarah, and they were able to just give me advice on the words and work with me with making a melody and things like that.
Tell me about the collaboration relationship you had with them. You had this idea, you had some specific words like Embozi.
Yeah.
So tell me about that relationship.
Yeah. So we've known each other not too long actually, and we met at the Milo Music. We met in Appleton, Wisconsin. This is just a special place. I advise everybody. I always tell everybody I know, go check out Appleton just because Appleton is awesome, but then check out the Mile of Music. So for me, the song, the way it's shaped up, there's a lot of like claps and like things to it, like that in the actual recording of the song, because it's influenced a lot by the culturally how we do music in Uganda, in Africa in general. It's very rhythmic. It's very, it's very kind of dancey, and I really wanted to actually have that in the song. So the initial thing, instead of like what I normally play, like it has like, and it kind of has this has a really like cool dance like that, or a cool kind of rhythm like that, and I showed it to them, and they were like, oh man, like, let's work on that. And so right after dinner we just kind of got together and just worked on the song. It was just really cool. They were able to they're just amazing musicians. They're able to hear something and know exactly what you want to say, or know exactly what you want to do, and kind of help you get there. And so it was just a relationship that comes easy because we're friends, and then the song came together really, really quick. So
nice. Yeah. On your website, I see that there's a little blurb about you, and it's like saying how your music is kind of hard to define or pinpoint.
Yeah.
Is that kind of part of it? The rhythm that you're bringing in from your own background?
Yeah, it is. And I'm sorry to cut you off. It is. I've moved around quite a bit. Lived in Uganda for all my life, born and raised. Then moved to Kenya for a bit. Then moved here, and I was in DC for a long time, and then I moved to Wisconsin after that. Just my life has brought me to so many different places, and all those places have influenced my music in some way, shape, or form. And so all the music is going to have all that background, whether it's rock, whether it's rap, whether it's just African tribal music, Ugandan kind of storytelling music, Kadongo Kamu, which is what in Uganda would be known as. You're going to hear that in there, so it's hard to define that as I could just say fusion, but
the mixture.
It's kind of an example of all the places I've been.
I definitely notice about your music, it has this, it's not soul because that's its own genre, but it's like got meaning and passion, and like there's definitely a deep emotion behind all of your songs I've listened to, and that's something that I see also carries over to the artists that you admire and look up to, is they also have that sort of like guttural passion behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of my favorites growing up, Need to Breathe. I've always said if I even get to play the same stage as Need to Breathe, that'll probably be the day I'll be like, all right, that's it, that's the month.
That's the dream.
I'm done. But yeah, they are very influential to my music. My religion is, my background culture is, it's all the things, and how I feel them, the raw way in which I feel them is how I'm going to put them in my music as well. So
do you want to talk on your religion and culture at all?
I mean, I'd love to. I don't think you have enough tape for that. I don't think you have enough tape for that. It's a whole long day conversation, but would love to sit down and get to each other more. Yeah.
Maybe offline.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to the relationship that you and I have, and how that started. From your perspective, I haven't actually heard this.
Yeah.
So tell me how this started from your perspective.
You know what? So I feel like I get like messages online like, hey, would really like to work with you, or hey, would really like to get together, maybe shoot a video, maybe do this, maybe do that. And most of the time, I'm a very skeptic person. Like I'm not. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, like, sure, like, you listen to like the stuff, and but like your approach was a kind of very like candid and just honest, and it's like, hey, I'm doing this is what I do, and I love this, and I've been looking at your stuff, and I'm not, even when you told me when we first met, like, I'm not super into music, but I'm getting there. So I just felt like that was way more honest than someone who like immediately throws a resume in your face, and it's just like,
hire me.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I don't know what to make of this, but I think I watched a few of the videos that you sent that you'd already done, I was like, I think this is cool, and I've always been looking for someone I feel good about, I could trust, and say like, hey, this person knows what they're doing. Actually like hanging out with them, and kind of checked all those boxes. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's see. This can go badly, and we can never speak of this again to anybody.
But then what have you lost?
Nothing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I feel like I gained way more than.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah.
The feeling is definitely mutual.
Yeah.
I was, from my perspective, I was looking for people that I could connect with, video-wise, either like in the same niche that I want to be in, or adjacent niches.
Yeah.
And you were somebody that wasn't just some random dude out of his basement who liked music, but like wasn't actually gonna have the discipline to like see it through.
Right.
And you had stuff on Spotify, you had a following, you had a website. It looked like you were going places, for lack of a better term.
Right.
And like you had the personal discipline to be somebody who was actually gonna make it in the music industry. Because there's lots of people who try. And it's like, that's a nice idea.
I appreciate that.
And it didn't seem like you were so big that you already had a bunch of big companies trying to get your attention. And I'm a small video producer, and so it's nice to be like, hey, this could be something that could help you and help me.
Yeah.
And this could be a good relationship. And if not, then like, what have we lost?
No, I think most of so it's Ben Mulwana in the Village, like, and that's normally that's what's been on my heart.
Yeah.
And the Village is so much bigger than just like the musicians and just that. And I feel like kind of my rubric or my at least radar for who I'd like to work with is like, would you see this person in your village? And,
do you want to talk on that? Because
yeah,
like, what is the Village, and how do you see that playing out in your future?
The Village is
or even just currently.
Yeah, the Village is everybody I work with. Obviously, primarily most of the people in my band, right? And so I've played with several drummers, I've played with several bassists, I've played with a couple different key players, but all those people are still like in the Village, because I can call them and say like, and not just on a musical thing, I can call them just like, hey, I'm in a bad spot, I need some help.
Personally,
so so it just really came together, and I know someone had asked me like, why the Village, and I'm like, cause like that's what it takes, with the music, with
it's community,
with this whole thing.
Yeah.
You can do it by yourself if you want, but it's going to be way, way, way harder to do it by yourself than do it with a team. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
So with today's set design and build, like, what did you initially think was going to be the plan, and like what inspired you, or where did you find words? What were you initially looking to try to recreate with today?
So I wanted to do something raw. I love live music videos. I love like just live performances in general. I think that's personally where I live. Like I've tried doing
more polished,
like a storytelling type of thing, and I just don't know that that's my niche. Maybe not yet. And so I really love like live raw videos. So this particular
not lip synced,
right? Mistakes and all. I think there is room for everything, but that's personally what I love, is put the mistakes in there, right? This particular room that we're in, I built from scratch, so it was studs and concrete, and I built everything in here myself, and so I love shooting in this room, first of all, so I love that we were able to capture some of the spaces, like the stained glass windows are from an artist in Green Bay, actually, because my wife and I were walking the market and we found them, and they happened to almost fit exactly, so I just had to tailor them in. So I really wanted to, as far as visually, just capture the room, and I intend to shoot way more videos in here, because this is why I built this space, right? And
it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's something that I've always wanted to be like a hub of creation, this particular spot, and so with this video I wanted to capture some of the beauty in the room that I really personally love, even with the mistakes. I know like there's some stuff I look at and I'm like, man, I could have done that better, but it still works and I really like it. And so here we go, we're continuing. I'm not a builder by any means. I'm also not like a super professional musician. I didn't study music. It's not something that I saw myself doing, especially up to even this point. So yeah, I mean, the room is kind of a physical manifestation of that too.
It's a physical representation of a spiritual reality.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see that with your style. I saw some of your stuff on your website and like your social media, and got this sort of a quick pass glance at you and your style. And I was like, is this his musician style and he has a completely different style at home, or is it like who he is? And like being able to tour your house and this place and just like how you dress is like very much, it's not like you have to fake this. It's just who you are, and it's just very natural. It's not like you're dressing differently or decorating differently because of your like business. It's like actually you like this style.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to worry like, is this in line with my brand style guide? No, I just like it, and it goes with all the other things that I like.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like living honestly is kind of like the one
authentic
thing that
I
hope we all do a lot more of. I know I try to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the point where I will start talking about the setup itself and the lighting and the space. The mic is centered with the room this way, with the windows in the background and the rafters. Wow, that's actually some really good leading lines. Take a picture because that's cool. Back to the video. Okay. So we wanted to include these stained glass windows in the background. They are beautiful, and they're also like part of Ben's style.
Right. They were a piece of art from an artist in Green Bay, and about 3 o'clock, about 4 o'clock p.m. when the sun's coming down nicely. They actually during the interview when we were doing it.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna see it. It came right over your shoulder, just like now. And the light kind of starts to pick up.
Yeah.
You start to see the reflections on the ground. And then later in the day, you can see, I mean, because once the light starts to dip, I mean, you can see, check that out, look at that. Look at that on the ground, look at your shoes and stuff. You know, so on a really bright, you know, sunny day, you start to get all these little greens and stuff going across, check that out, on the carpet. Like all these little, you know, kind of weird spotlights. Just,
absolutely.
You know, kind of start to happen. So, you know, I really wanted to capture that and have like a really cool, you know, backlit like thing happening. And unfortunately, you can't control the day, but you know,
yes,
you know, but you can. I'm so glad it's happening right now because this is kind of what I was telling you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It starts to move like back way this way. And then just boom,
up the wall.
You know, up the wall.
Yeah.
Just getting like this really strong rays of light, and you're standing in some of them like this is really cool.
So we wanted to include the windows for sure, and so that's why this hair light is here to kind of add to that light and make it look natural. Could I have you stand there so we can look at how the light's hitting your face? Yeah. And then this is just to get the face. We looked at it with here I'll throw in a still of the backlit only, and it was very dark, and we made it work. Like it could look cool, but we wanted to get some of the texture on his face, and so like this is obviously a zoomed in version, but we get the shadow side of his face, which is generally like ideal for filming, and the light's hitting this side, and then we also have a hair light slash rim light, whatever thing. So without that, I'm gonna turn this off real quick. Let's show you. If you stand there, like this is what that looks like. And the production quality just does not look quite the same without this here. So that's why. And then this is just kind of clamped, kind of jerry-rigged up to the rafter, which I am so glad there are rafters here.
Yeah.
Also, remind me to show you the picture I just took of these, like from this angle with the rafters. They're really beautiful leading lines. So then this is just my big softbox on a tripod plugged into the wall, and we moved some stuff around, but it's pretty much the way that it was already set up with the couch here and some of this memorabilia slash decor, yeah, so that's kind of like the behind the scenes of this specific shoot. we should probably talk a little bit about the handheld raw style.
Yeah. I like the raw style, especially when you look at people like Need to Breathe when they do just like their on the road live kind of shoots. Actually, personally, even love more live albums, way more than studio albums. So I feel like having like the really cool hand motion, something that looks like it's right in the moment, or like somebody that might feel like they're just looking at you doing the thing. I think that's like really cool. So I really wanted to go with that style.
Yeah. I definitely agree, and I think we nailed it. I think you nailed it with the song, and you move around enough that like even if I was standing still, there'd be some motion there anyway. So I just kind of like mirrored your motion and like tried to keep you in focus, and so then like you're moving, I'm moving. There's like looking at the guitar, looking at other stuff. So like I think it went pretty good. I'm happy with it, and everything's like really well sound treated. We didn't have to do anything like sometimes I'll bring a curtain with. Just to like throw it up somewhere to help there be some sound dampening, but like this is already pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a tracking room, so it really helps. And everything in here, I think I was mentioning earlier off the camera, but everything in here is movable. So where it's placed right now is just for blanket like default. If somebody just came, set up a drum kit, and they were just like, okay, hey, let's get this, or just started singing. You're gonna get that, you know. I love how the room sounds bare. Just if you want to do like really bright resonant vocals with people, like, you know, a dry room is just like everything bouncing off everywhere. It just feels like a chapel. It feels like
it does have that sound. Is there anything else that you want to touch on as far as like set or like props or
no, you know what,
pretty good.
I think you got everything. As far as this set, you know, again, everything tries because the room is super flat and very everything I try to make like that it's gonna steal some of the sound away or some of the bounce away.
Plans you got sound.
You know, bounce. And so
curtains.
Some of these I just bought these. I'm gonna put like foam underneath. Like, you know,
that's
foam,
smart.
Foam behind the couch. Like, you know, there's like things like that like it's just a cheat. Like you know, and
lots of little stuff.
Right. Yeah. Once
adds
your
up.
body's in the room, then all of a sudden you don't get that bounce anymore, right? Because like the body's just soaking up the whole thing, and you know, so you just, again, it always depends like how many people are going to be in the room. Like if it's only the two of you, you're going to need some of that stuff. If it's like, you know, 6 people, 7 people, you're not going to need it. It's going to be, you know, it's going to soak right up, and you know, it's going to be good.
All right, I'm ready.
We haven't spoken in a while. What does your heart say now? What shape is it taking on? What's changed since I've been gone? Did we both get turned around? Did we both get turned around? Didn't you learn to keep them out? Did the voices get too loud? Did they swell and not come down? Were you left for lost and found? Are we any different now? Are we any different now? Keep your head in your heart sound. Walking in is the only way out. Embozi. I've learned a thing or two in my time away from you. no need to feel collide when you know I'm on your side. You're not any different now. Or are we any different now? Oh, keep your head and your heart sound. Oh, walking in is the only way out. Keep your head and your heart sound. Oh, walking in is the only way out. Hope you learn a thing or two in my time away from you. There's no need to fear collide. You know we're on your side. You're not any different now. We're not any different now. Keep your head and your heart sound. Walking in is the only way out.
Cool.
This record.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So that was actually a gift from my wife.
Okay.
That is the very first EP I ever wrote. Like I wrote in our apartment. We were living downtown Kenosha, and I had a small like little Toshiba laptop and like a Scarlett like 2i, and I was like, okay, this is it. We're doing this whole thing, and recorded all the scratches and stuff. And then a friend of mine who owns Cellar Studio 39, I sent him some of the stuff, and he's like, hey, come in, like let's do this. And I went in there, hit record, and it was 4 songs. I was like, I've not written anything more than this, and this is all I have, so let's do it, you know. The funny part is that it was at a time personally when I didn't have anything else going on in life in general. I literally was just
a lull, it was a plateau, it was like a
because I was working on becoming a permanent resident in the United States. So I was like, okay, so at this point, I literally have nothing. So I have literally nothing to lose. So we're going to write this. And if it sucks, it sucks. But there is nothing to lose here.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was kind of my rawest form of writing. And funny enough, she really, really loved it. And so she gave me a record of it. So,
that's super cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know the sentimental value of that. It just looked really cool to me. But that makes it even cooler.
Well, thanks.
I saw you in the reflection of it, and I was like, oh, that would be cool. So I want to show you this picture. You
Oh, that's cool.
And you're in focus, and it's out of focus.
That's cool as hell. I like that.